Episode 3 of the Apothecary Diaries Season 2 kicks off with a somber and curious atmosphere. We see Jinshi and Goshen heading toward the Jade Pavilion. Cut to the Jade Pavilion where Honyang delivers some heavy news to Lady Gyokyo. Lady Jin has passed away due to food poisoning. This revelation sets the tone for what's to come. But hold on, our chaotic genius Maomao is about to add her own unique flavor to the episode. Meanwhile, Maomao, completely oblivious to the storm brewing, is in her natural habitat, the laundry area. She notices Shaolong scribbling something in the sand with a stick. Instead of barging in like most would, Mao respects her concentration and quietly walks away. Because why interrupt someone who might be plotting world domination? Or, practicing their ABCs. Mao then makes her way to the quack doctor, where she stumbles upon a juicy piece of gossip. A court lady named Tao has gone missing. Apparently her tenure was almost up and she was about to get married. Suspicious timing, don't you think? This tidbit of information sparks Mao's curiosity because the girl lives for mysteries and poisons. Cut to the Jade Pavilion where Jinshi and Lady Gyokyo are enjoying a rare outdoor tea party. Mao finds herself thinking it's a smart move for Lady Gyokyo to step outside occasionally. Constantly staying indoors could raise eyebrows, especially since Lady Gyokyo is pregnant, a fact they are trying to keep under wraps. When Lady Gyokyo spots Mao, she warmly invites her over. Our resident apothecary, as chaotic as her internal monologue is, keeps her exterior calm and collected. She approaches with discipline and respect, asking how she can be of service. But surprise, surprise, it's not Lady Gyokyo who needs her. Instead, Jinshi has something up his sleeve. Lady Gyokyo playfully teases Jinshi, saying that they could just talk here. But Jinshi insists on moving elsewhere. He drops a polite yet subtle excuse about not spending too much time with the Emperor's beloved concubine. And Lady Gyokyo's little girl also starts crying. Honyang, ever the sensible head lady in waiting, steps in, gently urging Lady Gyokyo to stop pouting and attend to her child. The scene shifts to Jinshi's office, where Maomao and Jinshi have a rather intriguing discussion about the Emperor's novels. Apparently, the palace workers are all dying to know about them. But that's not all Jinshi has in store. He shows Maomao blueprints for a writing school he plans to establish. Here's the kicker. When Maomao expresses her approval, both Jinshi and Goshen are absolutely floored. Their reactions are priceless. Jinshi jokes that Maomao's usual intense stare is missing, and Goshen wonders aloud if she's feeling unwell. The comedic timing here is chef's kiss. Maomao, unfazed, retorts that their reactions are the weird ones. Eventually, she gives Jinshi her trademark death glare, which oddly enough seems to bless him. Maomao mutters under her breath, "Masochist." After the comedic exchange, Maomao provides some thoughtful suggestions about the writing school. She notes that it could help palace workers transition into new roles once their tenures end. Jinshi, impressed but never one to keep things simple, shifts the topic to mushrooms. He asks Maomao if she knows much about them. Maomao explains that mushrooms are versatile. They are used in both food and medicine. Jinshi, being Jinshi, drops a new task on her. It's mushroom season, and some court ladies have been foraging for them without permission. He orders Maomao to identify and remove all the poisonous ones while documenting them as well. Oh, and he casually adds that she'll need to take a break from her other tasks at the Jade Pavilion, except for her tasting duties. This sparks Maoma's suspicion. Why is he invested in mushrooms all of a sudden? But she also finds the task oddly exciting. Her internal monologue reveals her thought process. Court ladies wouldn't forage in crowded areas, so the most likely starting point would be the poorly maintained and abandoned north section of the palace. Cut to Maomao in her element, wandering through the north side, where mushrooms are sprouting like crazy. She's mesmerized by the sight until she catches a whiff of something foul. She realizes the mushrooms might be thriving because of leaking sewage, and the smell confirms it. As always, Maomao finds a twisted sense of fulfillment in her poisonous adventures. Back to the Jade Pavilion, Maoma's cheerful demeanor is met with horror by one of the ladies in waiting. "Whoa, don't come in like that, you are nasty," she exclaims, pointing out Maoma's less than pleasant state after her foray into the north side. Maomao, ever the oddball, beams and declares that her day was fulfilling. Because of course, what could be better than spending hours with poisonous mushrooms? After cleaning up, Maomao prepares for Lady Gyokyo's dinner. She notices black cords on Gyokyo and Honyang's wrists. This piques her curiosity as these cords are typically worn when someone of noble status passes away. Later, Honyang asks Maomao to accompany her. On the way, she reveals that an upper-ranked middle-level concubine has passed away. The two are headed to her funeral. Honyang shares some backstory about the deceased concubine, Lady Jin, who had been sick for the past year and rarely left her room. Apparently, she suffered from food poisoning and never recovered. Honyang doesn't hold back her thoughts, remarking that Lady Jin should have gone home since the Emperor wasn't visiting her anyway. Maomao notes Honyang's unusually candid tone, and Honyang explains that Lady Jin was a difficult person. She was jealous, verbally and physically abusive to those of low rank, and even mistreated her ladies in waiting. Here's where it gets interesting. Honyang mentioned that this was around the time Lady Gyokyo was poisoned while pregnant with the princess. Jinshi had conducted an inquiry but found no concrete evidence against Lady Jin. And just like that, the plot thickens. As Maomao processed the events, her sharp mind began piecing things together. Hearing Honyang mention food poisoning, she couldn't help but wonder, why did Jinshi specifically ask her to investigate mushrooms? And why did he refrain from discussing this matter in Lady Gyokyo's presence? These questions hinted at his suspicions about the people there. Later, as Maomao receives the flower from one of Jin's ladies in waiting to pay respects to Lady Jin's coffin, her keen eyes caught sight of a rash on the woman's hand, subtly confirming her growing suspicions. Not long after, a concubine named Sun entered the room. In an unsettling display, Sun ruined the flowers around the coffin, yanked away the cloth covering Lady Jin's body, and mocked her lifeless form. Maomao observed both Sun and Jin up close. They too bore rashes similar to the ones on her hand. While exploring the north side, Maomao's eyes landed on a peculiar mushroom growing in the dam. The moment she saw it, her suspicions solidified. Carefully collecting the specimen, she made her way to the clinic. When Jinshi arrived, she made him wear a mask. This mushroom is extremely dangerous, she warned. The north side of the palace wasn't maintained properly, creating the perfect environment for it to thrive. Just touching it is hazardous, let alone ingesting it. As Jinshi bent forward for a closer inspection, Mama blocked him with her hand. Don't move any closer unless you want to end up like Lady Jin and Sun. She held up her own left hand, showing him the faded scars that bore an eerie resemblance to the rashes on the two women. I got this from merely touching the mushroom when I was foraging herbs with my father. I washed my hands immediately, but this was the result. Jinshi, ever curious, asked, "Are there more scars beneath those bandages?" Maomao smirked at his concern.
"No, these were just from experiments I conducted on myself,"
she replied nonchalantly, throwing him off guard with a casual demeanor. She continued, "You were investigating the source of the poison that affected concubines Jin and Sun, weren't you?" Before Jinshi could reply, Goshen muttered, as sharp as always. Jinshi then recounted the tragic tale. Concubine Sun began suffering from an unexplained illness, leading many to suspect Lady Jin of poisoning her. However, without evidence, no action was taken. A year later, Lady Jin herself began displaying similar symptoms. Over time, she fell into a deep depression, losing her spirit entirely. "I visited her once a month," Jinshi revealed, "but she could barely speak. She was once a proud woman, unable to endure her state any longer. She chose to take poison and end her life, or so it seemed." This story didn't sit right with Maomao. The symptoms of this mushroom poison shouldn't manifest on someone's face just from eating it. She pointed out, it's more likely that someone applied the mushroom directly to Lady Jin's skin. Her sharp detection led Jinshi to provide her with a team of discreet, trustworthy eunuchs for further investigation. With Goshen by her side, Maomao led the team to the north side, where the mushrooms grew abundantly. She instructed the eunuchs to dig near the cluster of fungi. What they unearthed left everyone in stern silence. The decayed corpse of the real Lady Jin, buried beneath the soil. After confirming it was the corpse of the real Lady Jin, she declared with chilling certainty, "The real Lady Jin died over a year ago." She explained that while the exact cause of her death remained a mystery, someone had taken her place afterward. Goshen, perplexed, asked about the woman at the funeral. In response, Mama presented a document featuring the image of a woman named Tao, who bore an uncanny resemblance to Lady Jin. Tao must have worked with Lady Jin's attendants to fool everyone, especially since few people ever saw her without her bandaged appearance. Maomao explained. Then she speculates, when Lady Jin realized Tao was receiving attention, things likely escalated into a deadly altercation. Jin's attendants, out of sympathy or fear, covered up her death and forced Tao to take her place. Maomao speculated that the attendants turned against Tao when talks of marriage involving her began to gain attention. When Jinshi questioned how Maomao had managed to locate the buried corpse, she revealed a basket of mushrooms, explaining that these particular fungi thrive near decomposing animal remains. Shortly after, her basket of mushrooms was confiscated, leaving Maomao lamenting her loss as her deep curiosity about the peculiar mushrooms was abruptly cut short. The episode ends with Maomao gazing at a mushroom left on the ground, pondering deeply. A mushroom that grows on a corpse, if such a thing existed, what would it look like? And what effects would it have? And that wraps up this intriguing episode. The mystery deepens and Maomao's curiosity keeps us hooked. Stay tuned for more twists and turns in the next installment. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.